Hello and welcome everybody to today's presentation of our project Smart E-Consultants. We thank you for affording your time to be here today. I am Sean Monagle, the team leader and project manager of Smart E-Consultants. I am joined here today by Ryan Perez and Harley Jackson. Today's presentation will provide you with the information in regards to the project undertaken, the time and cost analysis, risk analysis, software and service justification, team management, the project schedule, and finishing off with a demonstration of the web solution. I will now pass on to Ryan to discuss the project overview.
Thanks, Sean. Founded in July 2015, Smart E-Consultants is an ICT professional project group formed in the joint aim of researching, designing, developing, and releasing a specific project. The project that has been chosen is a cyber solution for small business. This project was to be a generic shopping website for a small business. It would implement a catalogue of items which could be added to a list for later checkout. Catalogue items were to be added by an admin using a password-protected interface. Items would show details such as price and availability, as well as a description and a name. We were also asked to implement promotional offers such as 50% off and 2 for the price of 1. The scope did not include additional user accounts, because we assumed that the user would easily be able to store all of their cart details in the session. The design also only allowed for 1 admin account, because it was assumed that a business could be small enough that it would not really require that many people logging into its interface. The account could always be shared. Apart from promotional offers, most of these objectives were met, showing this to be a successful project. We'll now move on to Harley, who will give us a time and cost analysis of the project.
Thank you, Ryan. Early on in the project's lifespan, the group discussed several key criteria in regards to the time required and the cost required. All the software that we used was to be open source or free in order to save on costs. This policy was maintained throughout the entire project. I offered to host the web solution on my own private server to save on cost, with the calculated costs to be $200. However, at the time of this presentation, the cost only reached approximately $56. Each member of the group would be required to have a stable and reliable internet connection. This was estimated to be a combined cost of $160 and remained at this price. In terms of hours that each member should be putting into this project, the group struggled to reach a number that sounded accurate. It was stated on the course synopsis for CSC 3600 that 84 hours should be spent on private study and 84 hours on project work. With the guidance of Dr. David Lai, it was decided that the estimated time per group would be 170 hours, adding up to a grand total of 510 hours. Of these 170 hours, they would be broken up into smaller categories. They are as follows: 5 hours for research, 20 hours for design, 100 hours for development, 25 hours for testing, 8 hours for implementation, and 12 hours for report writing. Each group member worked on a different total amount of hours and total hours for each section. The estimated cost of the project back when the project plan was produced was $12,600. This incorporated 510 hours at a pay rate of $24 per hour and the cost of software, hardware and maintenance. This estimate was a long way off what the actual costs were. The group only worked a joint total of 353.5 hours. Because of this, the final cost of the project was only $8,700, roughly 70% of the original estimate. As part of the planning for the project, we identified a number of potential risks, such as scope creep and loss of necessary services. We prioritised these based on their potential impact to the project. The risks were assessed by determining their probability and potential impact in a worst-case scenario, and rating them based on that criteria. For example, a risk with a critical potential impact and a very high probability of occurring would be graded as a high risk according to the matrix we used. We then determined a number of mitigation control measures for each potential risk in order to bring the risk rating down by either lowering the impact of the risk, the probability of the risk, or both. I will now pass on to Ryan to talk about the services and technologies we have used as part of our project.
Thanks, Harley. Now I'm going to give you all a brief overview of the services and the libraries we used in the project, as well as just a really quick running over of all the pages that we included. We'll go into that more in depth in the demonstration. So in the site we have an About Us page, a Contact page, a Catalog page, a Product page, and a Cart page at the front user end of the site. We then have some hidden checkout pages and an invoice page for once the user has actually checked out. In the admin section we have a site customization page as well as pages to view orders and modify products. The list of technologies we used in this project were very focused and very simple. We started out with a backend of Flask, which is a Python micro framework. So the language Python is very simple and elegant, along with Flask, which is also very simple and elegant, allowing us to create our solution very simply. The database end of things was handled using SQL Alchemy, which was used to model the database effectively. The front-end side of things, skillfully designed by Sean, were created using a variety of technologies. The usual HTML, CSS and JavaScript came into play, but also on top of that we used a framework called Bootstrap. Bootstrap is used to present a layout so that it can responsively respond to different screen sizes. This allowed us to create a mobile website and a desktop website in one with very little effort involved. Some notable tools to support us developers would be Git and Python virtual environments. Now the Python virtual environments caused some issues, but overall they helped us to test our server without having full access to the internet all the time. Git is what's known as a version control system. This allowed us to simultaneously work on the same file at the same time without any issues. If mistakes were made, it also allowed us to roll back to a time when the program was working. You can see how this would be very powerful. Well, that just about sums up the technologies used in this project. I'm now going to hand over to Harley with his section on team management.
Each member of our team took on specific roles for the duration of the project based on their existing skills and interests. Sean was elected as the group leader and project manager, and as the web designer and front-end developer for the project. I was the group's database manager and was in charge of designing and deploying the product's database. Ryan was the group's web developer and was in charge of developing and implementing the back-end technologies used for the product. Although we each primarily stuck to these roles, we all had input on every area. I will now pass back to Sean.
Thanks, Harley. I was tasked as being the group's project manager for this project. Our project began back on 30th July 2015 when we created our small group. From here, we were able to discuss in private how we wanted to go about the project. Within the first 2 weeks, I began work on our group Gantt chart using Microsoft Project. The duration for the web solution was a bit over 50 days. The web solution was broken up into 5 areas: research, design, development, testing, and implementation. Let's begin with research. When the research phase of the final project was created, we as a group had yet to discuss Flask or Bootstrap. Since then, however, the project plan has been updated to include this research. The research of each of these categories was not mandatory, as previous knowledge could be used. The initial research schedule was over a 3-day period in mid-August. However, it was completed over the lifespan of the project. The next section is design. In this phase, the group would produce wireframes for each of the pages of the website. I began this process by creating an account with Maya Balsamic to help with the production of these wireframes. The results of the designs are as follows. It needs to be stated that our wireframe layouts differ from our final project. This is because we were yet to discover Bootstrap. This didn't happen until the development phase. Next we move on to the database. Harley was tasked with creating this. As you can see here, this is the database layout that Harley created, which would later be developed in PHPMyAdmin. Once we completed the design of our web solution, we were able to begin development of the site. This was scheduled to start on August 29 and began with Ryan creating basic Flask templates for each of the pages. From here, I was able to use Bootstrap in order to create a template for each of the pages. We've had numerous design changes over the life of the project. Some of these designs were discarded due to better options becoming available. Early on in the development phase, I created templates for each of the proposed layouts and presented them to the group. The designing and coding of these templates and the final solution were completed locally without the use of Flask. This was so that I could tinker with the layouts and present my final version to the rest of the group without any errors. In the same time, Harley began work on the database. The database was a key area of the web solution. Harley nominated to complete this section as he wanted to get into database management once he graduates. Once the final layout was agreed upon by the group, Ryan and myself began work on the final web solution. I was in charge of the layout and the look of the website, while Ryan was focused on the back end with Flask. Much like Harley, Ryan and I chose areas to complete in conjunction with the areas of ICT we wanted to get into after university. The process to have the web solution completed by the scheduled date was delayed, however. Instead of being completed by 16th of October, it was completed on the 21st of October. The reason for this delay is due to issues encountered with the development environment server, Git, and struggles with Flask and SQL Alchemy. Because of this, the time period to conduct full testing has been limited. We as a group have been doing some of the testing during the development phase to ensure that our code will hold up to the rigors it is required to. During the testing period, we were able to do a couple of dry runs through the solution with a fake business and a fake business manager. The final area of the web solution was the implementation. This phase involved ensuring that our web server was functional and that all key features were included. This was presented to Dr. David Lai on the 22nd of October. Overall, the group kept the project schedule fairly well. There were some instances where we went over time, but as a group we were able to rectify this with relative ease. I will now pass on to Ryan and Harley to give a demonstration of our web solution.
Okay, now we're going to look at the admin features of the site. So right off the bat, you'll see no matter what page you go to before you set everything up, you'll always be redirected back to the startup wizard, which means you can't go accidentally using it when it's not set up. So it's called the introduction wizard. This contains things like business name, your business logo, and business description. So we'll enter in a business name called a fake business called XY Apparel. So here's where you'll enter your logo. You'll enter in a description here. You want it to be reasonably lengthy, possibly somewhere between 250 and 500 words. You'll see that there's bold, italic, that sort of thing. Cool, so moving right along, if you click the next button, it'll collapse that and scroll down. This is where you'll select a layout for your site. So that's a dark sidebar with a red skin. You'll see that a bit later on. Just moving along, going to one I prepared earlier. Pre-fills the business name for you. You're entering details, your email, your phone, departments, and your address. Click next and it'll scroll me down. So you've got your manager details here. I've entered in just my name. You've got a password here. You'll notice if you don't enter in something correctly, it validates it for you. Can't enter in that. Need a .com. Okay, these are your My School details. Now you'll get this from your webmaster if you're not technically inclined. Otherwise you may have the details yourself. You can pick whatever name you want here really as the database name. It'll just create it for you. Database already exists is used. If you're using one that already exists, it won't automatically override that database. You'll need to check this box to say that you're giving it permission. After a little bit of waiting, you should get a screen that looks like this. It says successfully installed the application. So now, fingers crossed, we should be able to go to the home page, and then you end up on a page like this. So to get to the admin area, you're going to want to click login at the sidebar, enter in with your name and the password you created earlier. So now we're in the admin page. You see it's got my name here, still got our logo up there. So there's a bunch of different things you can do here. You've got product modification. This area is here for products, and we can add a new product down here. So let's add in something like a shirt. Okay, so then you add in the quantity for what you need. Okay, so we want to choose our image here and add our product. And you'll see here that we have a product in the database. Now you might notice you can edit your stock here. So if I press 15 and then reload the page, it's still got 15 stock. You can also delete products here. I'm not going to actually do that because we need all the products we can get. So let's just add another product. So add another product. So let's move on from here. We have our view orders area. Now here you'd normally be able to view the order with the ID, the date, the name, the city and the price. And of course you'd be able to click on the order to view some more detailed information about that. So here we have site customization, and we can actually enter in a new business name if we like. So let's say we changed our name and we want to actually become ABC Apparel. So we can just enter in ABC Apparel here, and then we'll enter in a new description. And as you can see at the top, our site name is actually changed to ABC Apparel. So that's actually the main extent of the admin section. You'll see it's very simple to enter things in, and there's not all that much to it to get your business running.
This is the front end of the website, which is what will be presented to customers that visit the page. Each page is split into 4 sections: the header, the navigation, the page content, and the footer. In the header, we have the company logo. We have a shopping cart widget, which allows customers to view products if they've placed into their cart, and we have a button to collapse the navigation. In the navigation, we have a search bar that allows customers to search for either products in the catalogue or for pages on the site. There are also links to each page that customers are ordinarily able to access. In the footer, we have links to various pages on the website, a copyright notice for the business, and trading hours if applicable. This is the home page of the website. This is the first page the customers will see when visiting. In the center of the page, we have a carousel which displays the latest products the business has to offer. The carousel will switch through products automatically, or the user can control the carousel manually with the buttons on the left and the right. This is the About Us page. This page will display the company description that the business has entered during the setup wizard, and has a slideshow to the right which can display images of the business's choosing. This is the Contact Us page. From this page, the customer can see information about the business, such as their location, trading hours, and contact information. This page is created dynamically using information which was entered during the setup wizard. To the left, we have the street address, trading hours, and designated email addresses of the business. To the right, we have an interactive Google Maps widget, which initially shows the location of the business and allows customers to navigate around the map or go into Street View. At the bottom, we have a contact form, which allows customers to contact the business electronically. This is the product catalogue. Products in the database are displayed here in rows, along with relevant information about each product, such as the price. The customer can search rows by various criteria using the controls at the top, and can navigate through pages of results using the buttons at the bottom. A customer can also add a product to their shopping cart using the buttons to the right of each product. Once this button is clicked, the customer is directed to their shopping cart. Once the customer has added a product to their shopping cart, the customer can then manage their products. All of the relevant product information is displayed in rows, such as the product name and price. From here, the customer can remove any product from their cart using the cross to the left, or update the quantity of the product they wish to purchase to the desired amount. The order total is calculated automatically and displayed below. Once the customer is satisfied with their purchase, they can proceed to checkout. Once the customer is in the checkout page, they must enter their payment details before the order is recorded by the system. The customer's billing information and order notes are first entered into the form on the left. Then the shipping and payment methods are selected. Finally, the customer may then review their order before purchase, with the adjusted totals depending on the shipping and payment method selected. The customer may then place their order.
So in summing up, Smart eConsultants have produced a web solution that is targeted at small businesses. Each member of the group was assigned specific areas to work on, with the estimate for the final project being $3,900 more than the actual cost. I once again thank all of you for affording your time to be here today. We are now available for any questions you may have.